Hey you guys, so I'm doing my No Cap Sunday review on foundational guidance from the Lord. Okay, so we had a really good sermon today, had a really good service today, had a lot of stuff in there. I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can in there into this No Cap Sunday, but just some of the highlights of what I learned and what I heard. So it came from Micah 6th chapter, 8th verse. Go read it. Okay. And one of the things that the pastor talked about was being just in our dealings and dealing justly with people and being very careful how we treat others. And I thought it was really interesting when he was saying how a lot of the times we it's easy to help someone when we have a lot and it's not going to affect us. But when we're needing to help someone and it might affect us or cause us to be uncomfortable, we're least likely to help that person. The instance that he used was like if you have a loaf of bread and somebody asks you for a couple pieces, it's like, okay, yeah, you can get them because you know that you have an abundance left. But if there's 2 pieces of bread left and someone asks you for some bread, you're less likely to give them that bread. And I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely true. I also talked about how we're not supposed to necessarily treat people the way that they treat us, and that we should not judge people. And I love, I talk about this a lot when it comes to Christians, church, and all that sort of thing, where we have to be careful that we're not judging others. And the instance that was used was the story in the Bible where Jesus was like, anyone who has no sin, you be the one to cast the first stone. And so one of the things that the pastor says, none of us should be walking around with rocks in our pockets, because every last one of us has something that we struggle with. Every one of us has something that we need to work on in life. We all have our sins. He didn't use this term today, but I will say we all have our favorite sin, that thing that we love to do that's not necessarily the right thing to do. Whatever it is, we all have it. Okay, so none of us is so righteous that we can judge anyone else or be one to throw stones. So don't carry rocks in your pockets, or your jaws for that matter, Then another thing was being humble, and how hard it is sometimes for us to be humble with people from day to day, and how we walk with people and how we treat people. When you talk about being humble with God, we're very easy to say, yeah, I'll be humble with God. But then we don't want to be humble with those people that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. And it can get very hard for us to do that. And he was also saying, don't try to return bad behavior with bad behavior, or try to say that someone's making you act a certain way. Don't let their behavior reflect who you are and what you're going to be like and how you're going to act. And I mean, it was just really good. It was a really good sermon, very informational, very packed with things that, I could really relate to. And even things that I struggle with as a Christian from day to day, and how we have to, those are the foundational things, believe in mercy, being merciful towards other people. We want mercy, we want God to have mercy on us. Then we have to be merciful in our dealings with others. Sometimes we're not so merciful, and we have to be really careful not to come off as self-righteous. Oh my gosh, that's one of the biggest things that people complain about. I don't know if you know that or not, about Christians or people that go to church. It's like, you come off like you better than everybody else. No, we all have our things that we're working on, and we have to be careful not to come off as self-righteous and looking down on other people, because we have no right to do that, right? Yeah. So hopefully we all agree on that part of things, that none of us have the right to look down on anyone. And so all of that was just really, really good teaching, and just, stuff that we know, but sometimes we need a little reminder that, we need to be following these type of guidelines for our life. And the thing about it is, a lot of this stuff is stuff that just people in general want to do. And something else that I heard him say that really, really settled into my spirit was, it doesn't matter how much you go to church or how religious you are. If you're not following these foundational things, then you are not doing what God is saying that you should do. We can religiously go to church and not have the Spirit of God within us and not be following the rules that God has gave us to follow, and treating people the way that we should treat others, how we're supposed to walk in day-to-day life. You can religiously do anything, okay? That doesn't mean that you're following those steps that God has given us to follow, okay? And I thought that was great too, because we all know people that go to church and they're not necessarily godly. And I challenge to even think that some of us at some point in life were going to church and weren't necessarily doing what we were supposed to be doing. We were just religiously going because that's something that we were taught to do, or that we were supposed to do on a Sunday, get up and go to church. So those are the things that I got, that I squeezed in to this No Cap Sunday review. I hope that you enjoyed it. Go check out Micah 6th chapter, 8th verse, read it. If you go beyond the 8th verse, read it, and try to apply those things that I was talking about, foundational things that we should be doing to be pleasing in God's sight. Don't forget to be humble. Don't forget to be merciful. Don't forget, okay, any of those things, to just, from day to day, how we're supposed to treat each other. All right, you guys, have a good Sunday. I'm going up to fellowship with my family. Hope everybody's being safe and enjoying their weekend. All right.